Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are diving into one of the biggest questions out there when it comes to your money. Should you pay down debt or should you be investing for the future?
So, here's the deal. You've got an extra dollar. What do you do with it? Do you throw it at your debt or do you invest it? This is what we call the next dollar dilemma. You've worked hard for that money, you've got a little extra, and suddenly you're kind of stuck, right? Does it go to the student loan, the car payment, or do you put it to work in the stock market? It can feel totally paralyzing. I get it. But don't worry. Today we're going to build a really clear framework to help you figure this out once and for all.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll cover the absolute must-dos, your financial foundation. Then we'll look at the two big schools of thought, the math way versus the mind way. After that, we'll get into some simple rules for the road. And finally, we'll pull it all together so you can build your own personal plan.
All right, first things first. Before we even get into the whole debt versus investing debate, you need to know something. Pretty much every financial expert out there agrees on two things you absolutely have to do first. These are the non-negotiables.
So what are they? Step 1, capture your full employer 401k match, every last penny. Step 2, pay off any of that really nasty high-interest debt, like credit cards. Seriously, these two things right here will give you the biggest, fastest boost to your financial health. Period.
Let's just pause on that first step for a second, because it's huge. The 401k match. Why is it such a big deal? Well, think about it. It is an instant, guaranteed 100% return on your money. 100%. You put in $1, your company puts in $1. Boom, you've doubled your money right there. You are just not going to find a better, safer return anywhere else. It's a no-brainer.
And yeah, you hear people call it free money, and that's exactly what it is. Not taking it, that's literally like telling your boss, nah, you can keep that pay raise. And you'd be surprised. Some studies show that a lot of people, like almost a third, don't actually contribute enough to get the full match. That's a massive amount of wealth just being left on the table, money that could be growing and compounding for you for decades to come. Okay, so let's say you've got your foundation set. You're getting that 401k match, you've stamped out that high-interest credit card debt. Awesome. Now we can get into the really interesting part, the great debate. What do you do about everything else? The student loans, the car payment, all that stuff? This is where things split into two main camps. On one side, you've got the debt avalanche. This is the pure math approach. You line up all your debts by interest rate from highest to lowest, and you attack the one at the top. It's guaranteed to save you the most money in interest over time. Simple logic. But then on the other side, you have the debt snowball. With this one, you actually ignore the interest rates. Instead, you focus on paying off the debt with the smallest balance first. See, this one isn't about the math. It's all about your mindset and building momentum.
So you might be thinking, wait, why would anyone pick the snowball if it costs more? And that's a great question. The answer comes down to psychology. There's this concept called debt account aversion. It just means that we humans, we love to see progress. We want to simplify our lives. So when you completely pay off one debt, even a tiny one, it feels like a huge win. You've got one less bill to worry about, and that feeling gives you this incredible motivational boost to keep going.
And this isn't just some feel-good idea either. There's real research from places like Harvard that backs this up. What they found is that those quick wins, crossing a debt off the list, have a powerful effect on our sense of progress. That progress is what keeps us motivated. People who use the snowball are often more likely to actually stick with it and pay off all their debt. It's the key to staying in the game for the long haul.
Okay, let's look at a quick example. Imagine you have these 4 debts, right? And you've scraped together an extra $100 a month to throw at them. Using the snowball method, you funnel all of that extra cash at the smallest one, card A. And look at that. In just 2 months, bam, it's gone. That's your quick win. Now you take all the money you were paying on card A and you roll it into the payment for card B. You see what's happening? You're building a snowball of money that gets bigger and bigger, helping you knock out each debt faster and faster.
All right, now let's talk about that gray area. The debts that aren't a screaming emergency, like a 25% credit card, but they're not super low interest either. I'm talking about maybe a 5% car loan or a 6% student loan. This is where the decision gets tough. Do you pay that down or do you invest?
Well, lucky for us, the folks at Fidelity have a really simple but powerful rule of thumb to help with this. They call it the rule of 6%.
And it's pretty simple. If your debt's interest rate is above 6%, the guideline says you should probably focus on paying it down. But if it's below 6%, you're likely better off investing that extra cash. The thinking here is pretty straightforward. If you can reasonably expect to earn more than 6% in the stock market over the long run, then investing makes more sense for those lower rate debts. Paying off a 7% loan is like getting a guaranteed 7% return on your money. But if the loan is only 4%, your money can probably work harder for you in the market.
But of course, that 6% isn't a magic number that works for everyone. It really depends on you and your comfort level with risk. If you're a more cautious investor, maybe your threshold is lower, say 5%. But if you're a more aggressive investor and you're aiming for higher returns, you might be totally comfortable carrying a 7% debt while you invest.
Here's another great way to look at it. This one from the Money Guy show. They suggest tweaking that threshold based on your age. And it makes a lot of sense, right? When you're in your 20s, you have a ton of time for your investments to grow and recover from any bumps in the market. So maybe a 6% debt is no big deal. But when you're in your 40s, you have less time until retirement. That guaranteed return from paying off debt starts to look a lot more attractive. So for you, maybe anything over 4% is considered high interest and should be a priority.
Okay, that was a lot of info. We've talked about the foundation, the different strategies, and a few rules of thumb. So, how do we actually put all of this together into a single, straightforward plan? Let's do that now. And here it is, your complete financial order of operations, putting everything in the right order. Look, it all starts with the basics. You need a budget so you know what's coming in and what's going out. And you need a small emergency fund for life's little surprises. Then you hit those big two we talked about. Get your full 401k match and destroy that high-interest debt. After and only after those are done, you move on to step 5. This is where you tackle those moderate debts, using either the avalanche or snowball and those rules we just covered. And once that's handled, you're clear to really ramp up your investing for retirement and all your other big goals.
So, at the end of the day, there isn't one perfect answer that's right for everybody. It's really about finding the answer that's right for you. It's a mix of cold, hard math and, well, how your brain is wired. It's about risk, and it's about what keeps you motivated. The good news is, you now have a framework. You have the tools to go from feeling confused to feeling clear, so you can make a smart, confident decision about what to do with your very next dollar.